Greetings, my friends, and welcome to another video. Hey, that last video we talked about all the different ways we can get a background image into your page, whether that's the entire screen or just a section of the screen. Using a background image allows us to kind of stack up or layer different things, and it can really lead to some interesting looking effects. Now, I've got our demo project opened up here, but I've stripped out the CSS that was responsible for making some of the cool stuff, okay? And so what I've got here is just a really plain, white big block of space, and then some of my HTML that I've got over here, but it's not great on its own, okay? It would really benefit from adding a background image. So I got the code right here. I'm going to start off with my first thing. I want to set the background image. Bam, okay? By using the background image declaration here and pointing this to where I've got a file stored away. When I go ahead and save this stuff, hit reload, ding, I've got a background image. But, as you can see, the repeating of it, the default behavior, the fact that the image is going to repeat over and over again is totally not what I'm after. Okay, this is not the look I was shooting for. So the first thing I want to do then is go back to my code and alter the background dash repeat. Okay, let's go ahead and find a setting that's going to work for that. As I'd mentioned, no repeat, shutting that behavior off is a great way to go. Okay, so if I go ahead and reload again, bing, okay, I don't have the repeating going on. Now I still feel like I've got a lot of room for improvement here. One of the things then that we saw was the ability to change the background position. But this really isn't going to be the answer for us, okay? If I do want to do that, background position is in my list of stuff. Let's just say I did center, which, if I understand things correctly, is going to put that image in the middle of things. And it worked, okay? It is in the middle of things. It is going to stay centered in the middle of things. But it really isn't, so it's still being centered here. But it's still not what I'm looking for. I mean, I could see a way that this might work. And then remember, there's all kinds of varieties. So if I want this thing to be on the left and the top, you saw all the different varieties in the last video. Okay, left top, not what I'm looking for either. Okay, so background position, I want you to know it's there, but to my mind, it is not the magic pill that I think we'd like it to be. Okay, what do I have? Well, I talked about the background size attribute. And in particular, I said that cover is like a secret sauce kind of invention. Okay, let's go ahead and see what that's done for me. Okay, it has taken my image and made sure it covered everything. Now watch what happens when I stretch this thing out wider. Okay, so when I get this window going wider and wider and wider, okay, notice how the image is stretching to cover and I'm losing parts of the top and bottom of the image. Okay, if I get this out wide enough, you'll notice kind of the bottom part of the computer starts disappearing here. Okay, that's because cover is going to make sure that it covers all the available space that it needs to take up. Okay, and then likewise, if I start getting to a point where I'm getting too narrow, like the image is, now I've got a narrower window than I've got image. Notice what happens now is I start to chop off, I lose some of the side of this thing. Okay, so instead of the top and bottom, now I'm losing the side. Okay, so cover can be a great answer. I mean, in this case, I don't really have any scrollable content here, but if I could scroll up and down, the fact that I've covered my whole area is a win. Everything looks great. It's providing the look and feel that I want. But you'll notice I've got a problem now. When I go back to my browser, it is hard to read some of this stuff against the picture. Okay, now if I look at my HTML for this thing. Okay, here's my stuff, and I've got this div here, which contains all my stuff. I've got this opaque card class on it. And what I want to do, I'm just leaving myself some room here to do something creative there. And in this case, I want to provide a background color that's not 100% white or black or whatever color it is. I need to provide some contrast, but I also want the image to show through. The secret in this case, I could set background or background color. The secret in this case is using an RGBA color where I specify the R, the G, and the B. 255 for each of these is going to result in white. But then for the alpha component, I choose something between 0 and 1. Okay? 1 would be fully opaque. I would see all white and I wouldn't be able to see through. 0 would be fully transparent. I wouldn't see the picture showing through. But by choosing something in the middle, notice how I can still see the leaves on the plant and the computer monitor. Like I still get all the sensation of seeing that image, but I can read my text over it because I've provided this color. Okay. Again, if I did, I mean, we can see it in action here. If I had specified 1.0 for this thing and saved it and then reloaded, it's not the same. Okay, wow, this is too bold, too bright, and it's not really as cool as showing a little bit through. And we already saw, if I didn't have enough opacity to it, then I would end up with something I really couldn't see and read over the background. Okay, so by choosing that alpha value to be somewhere between 1 and 0, I'm going to get that great effect. Okay. So look what we did with just a little bit of CSS. One, to set a background image for the body of the document, make sure it didn't repeat, and set its background size to cover. And secondly, taking care of some legibility issues by providing a div around all the stuff that I needed to be legible and setting the background color of that thing to something semi-transparent. Okay, that's it for this video. I will see you the next time we meet.